Hello, hello, it's Joy Foster. I'm the founder of Tech Pixies, and you are listening to the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. I am really excited about my guest today. This is Mandy Hughes, and you're going to love her story. If you can relate to being a single mom, if you can relate to being a parent carer, if you can relate to dyslexia, she is going to be someone who's going to pull on your heartstrings today. So Mandy, I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for joining us. I cannot wait to start telling your story. Let's start by you telling us what life was like prior to Tech Pixies.
Prior to Tech Pixies, life as a parent carer is just really difficult. I very often had sayings, like quite negative sayings, saying I'm worthless, useless, there was no value to my life because all I am is a parent carer to my daughter. I managed to then get a job working for Credit, who was a charity that started to support me. But then I think what really knocked me was, because I'm a people person, I started to put things in place to get out and about in the community. And then COVID hit, and it was just like, well, what am I supposed to do now? And it was just, with my daughter, she's 24/7. She's a two-person job. I had a job before that doing hairdressing, and I just had to give that up because it was kind of evenings and weekends and kids' holidays. I kind of still did a bit, but I ran my own business for 16 years. I had 3 different salons, but the duties of looking after my daughter were just so great. We spent the year before I really cut down the hairdressing to next to nothing. I must have spent most of the time in hospital with her, in and out. So I just thought, whoever is going to want to employ me, how on earth can I possibly work?
Well, and we call those automatic negative thoughts. It's those thoughts that come up over and over and over again. And it's like you're punching yourself in the face every time you say those things. So it's incredible to hear you talk so openly about that, because I think people feel those thoughts but they don't talk about it. And it's actually in getting the thought out of your head and onto paper, and then having the support to work through those thoughts that really makes a difference. I was just listening to something this morning that was saying there's, let's say 10 spiritual laws, but she was saying the first spiritual law is the law of thought, and this concept that we have control over our thoughts, and we have to face the facts, and we have to look at the facts of life, but we have to realize that we get to choose our thoughts about those circumstances, and that we can, by changing the way we think about it, we can change the outcome of it in the face of the facts. So you joined the Tech Pixies program, and you were one of our lucky scholarship recipients. Talk to me about what it was like to find out that you got a scholarship and what that meant for you.
Oh, for me, that was incredible, because it felt like somebody believed in me, because I wrote it and I thought, oh, she's going to have loads of people in. She won't want me. My story, my story isn't very interesting. Sometimes you feel as a parent carer, people do like to hear your story, but often it's just like, oh, I don't want this. I don't want it to be a pity party. Yeah, it's tough, but I want to pull the positives. And it was just a bit like, so to get the scholarship for me was really inspiring, that somebody believed in me, and it was just like, yes, I can do this. Somebody believes in me.
Sometimes that's all it takes, right?
Yeah.
To know that someone believes in you is all it takes. It's such a gift we can give other people. And here's what I find happens with our scholarship students, not always, but very often. The people that come through our program on scholarships, in order to get a scholarship, you have to be on universal credit, PIP or ESA. We also have partial scholarships for women who come from BAME backgrounds, LGBTQ backgrounds, 60+ backgrounds. So we have a variety of scholarships at various different levels. But what we find is that when a woman gets a scholarship, she then, whatever circumstance she's in, once her thinking starts changing, once her life starts changing, she then gives back to the people that are in the same situation she was in before she came in. And you are a perfect example of that with the Bubble Hub. So talk to us about the Bubble Hub and how you got there. And the whole series that we're doing right now is a series on clarity, right? So you come into Tech Pixies, you have all of these ants, these automatic negative thoughts, who am I? Who's gonna want me? What am I gonna do? And all that stuff. And the Bubble Hub didn't just happen overnight. It came through a series of of trial and error. So talk to us about the journey of setting up the Bubble Hub, and then talk about what it does for you and for those that benefit from it.
I suppose I've got a bit tired of banging my head against a brick wall and saying, no, this isn't here and that isn't here. There's nothing for my daughter. I can't take her anywhere. There's no toilets about. There's no support. There's no help. And I just got fed up of feeling like a broken record. And I just wanted to be the change, I suppose. But if I take a step back to what Tech Pixies and my journey last year was, sort of before I started my job and I started this, I couldn't even use emails properly. I literally would tell people emails. I never looked at emails. I did computers, but not very well. And I feel really proud the fact that I can do podcasts. I'm now looking at setting up websites. I'm now looking at, I dare to dream, you know, I can do, I know the concept. I probably don't practice it as well as I should have, what I should be doing on the platforms and the systems in place. And what it's taught me is just, if I can access a computer, I can work and do anything. And that's opened my eyes. So for the Bubble Hub, it really started with such a complex little girl living in the middle of nowhere, living in the country, living in a really rural area. You know, we're an hour away from any hospital. And I'm not the only one that feels like that. I'm probably in a minority of how complex she is. But I want to stay living local. I don't want to move. So what's the next option? So I think with the Tech Pixies and being part of Credit, it just enriched my positiveness and thinking, well, what it's going a bit back to what you said. There's things we can change and there's things we can't change. There's no point in working up with what we can't change. So put that to one side and say, what can we do right now? I think I was always on a secret mission to support parent carers, because I always felt that loneliness and that guilt and that I was always in hospital and on my own. And what I've learned is before I had a disabled daughter, I would hide. I hid behind my hairdressing. I didn't do paperwork, and the bare minimum as a self-employed person. I did the bare minimum. And having a disabled daughter, I have to do emails. I have to be organized. I have to organize her paperwork. I have to have systems. And I had to, if anyone out there has ever filled the DLA form out, I filled it out. I got rejected 3 times. But in the end, I'm dyslexic. I wrote that paperwork myself. I communicated what our needs were and how difficult it was. And we got the amount. So, you know, just keep trying, ladies and gentlemen, you know, and it's really hard. You're banging your head up against a brick wall all the time, and there feels like there's no support out there. And in our area, it seems to be gaps in parent carer support, never mind someone with a complex need. So it's sort of bringing all them elements together, trying to create, and my childminder, I've got to say, has been absolutely amazing. My advice to anybody is just ask the questions, be curious. She was amazing with my daughter. With my daughter, you've got to be trained to look after her. A nurse has got to come round and train you how to give a lot of her medicines and look after her, because it's quite medical. She done all that. She trained all up, and she's supporting with the Bubble Hub because it's something that really means something to her. So it's like, you know, we're looking at setting up craft events, supporting parent carers. We're looking at, can we have disabled toilets in our area? Could it eventually be, the big dream is it's like a holiday destination where people with disabled people can come and enjoy where we live and connect, you know, but we're starting small, putting little things on and trying to grow it from small.
I love that. What I love about what you're doing is you're supporting women who have been in the same, and men who've been in the same situation as you. And there's been some incredible things that have happened to you. Let's also talk about dyslexia, because this is this interview, you know, like I said, if dyslexia resonates with you, this is going to resonate with you. If, you know, raising a complex child with multiple disabilities resonates with you, this is going to resonate. If you're a single mom or ever was one, this is going to resonate with you. So let's just unpack the next bit, which is the dyslexia. Now, you did something really clever with a job interview recently. Tell us what you did and the reaction that you got.
I've kind of done it a few times because I'm not really paper, and the information that way isn't my favorite way of communicating. And it's just trying to break the barriers down a bit, really. And I think that's what I've learned on my journey. I've heard you talk about, you know, often either doing audits for people and showing yourself that way. So it's just thinking outside the box. I literally see this job come up and it's to support parent carers in the workplace. I thought, oh, that aligns with everything I'm doing. That looks so exciting. Oh, but I've got to do a CV. Well, I'm not very good at doing CVs. I don't come across very well. And I don't want to ask someone else to do it for me. So what I did, I got my camera out, and it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. I don't know if I'd have done it if I'd have really thought about it. So I got my camera out and I said, I love what you're about. I don't even mind if I don't get the job. Would you consider taking a video interview so I can apply for the job? I just think it's brilliant. I just love to hear more. I sent that across, and they didn't take long, actually. I just said what I felt at the time. So I put it on a YouTube, one that you can send the link to, so it's private, no one else can see it. So I said, well, there's a few views on there. I only sent it to one person. So I said, okay, then maybe it's wrong. Anyway, they got back to me. They said, oh, what an innovative idea that was. Well done, you. What a great idea. We're going to send it to our HR department to see if we can take video form of interview. I was like, oh, okay, then that's to me, it was about breaking down the barriers and being
a video form of a CV.
Yeah, in a form of a CV, just a CV. Yeah, and it was just like, it is more than asking about the job. It's just creating opportunities for anybody, really. And they got back to me and they said, yeah, we'd like to take your video interview and just make sure you cover all the points in your video. And they quoted, an Equal Rights Act, because at the end of the day, being dyslexic is a disability and they've got to make reasonable adjustments for you to do the job. And I think before I just thought, well, I can't do it. I can't do that. Why can I do that? There's this and this. It's the distance, it's this, it's the hours. And then I thought, well, I'll send it in and we'll have a conversation, because I think, like you guys have said, we're often interviewing each other. It isn't just about them wanting me. It's about if I fit with them as well. And a bit like you said, like your morals and your values. And I before I just took any job because I had no self-worth. Now I think, does it align with my values? Is it where I'm trying to go? Is it going to, like you say, get me where a bit closer to what I want to do? And for me, my goal is, it isn't about the money, but like you said, we've all got to work and we all have worth. It's about supporting other people early on in their journey, like me said, they don't feel alone, so they feel supported. It's about the parent carers, and also it's about making sure that we can create that working environment for carers, because it's really difficult because there's so many challenges.
One of the things we talk about in the Superhero Bootcamp, which we're about to launch again on the 17th of May, and you may or may not hear this before or after we've started the bootcamp if you're not already a Tech Pixie or not already on our mailing list. But what I wanted to say is one of the very first superpowers that we talk about is the invisibility cloak. And it's the superpower that everyone has. And it's taking off the invisibility cloak and becoming visible and starting to do video and all that stuff that opens up these opportunities. Now, I know you did that interview, and I know, or not that interview, but you did the video CV and you sent in the video requesting that you could do the video CV. Would you have done that before Tech Pixies?
No way. No way. I really like what it's created for me, because it's give me a voice, because I've hidden because I struggle with the paperwork side. But instead I can say, well, I can do that, but it's a bit different to everybody else, but I can do this really well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, so we've talked about raising a child with multiple disabilities. We've talked about dyslexia. Let's talk about single parenting, because this comes up a lot. We have a lot of conversations about this. There's a lot of single moms. Not everyone in our program is a mom, and we have women who are single moms, who are in partnerships, all that good stuff. But what's it like being a single mom? And I know you're not a single mom now, but what's it like in that situation? And what's your best piece of advice for women who are in that situation who could use support and need support?
I think this has taught me that I wished I'd have been able to do a sort of course like this that would have supported me through a difficult breakup, because it's really difficult to bring up a child when, like, I can't just have the say. We've got to talk together. You don't get on for whatever reason. it's really challenging. It was really difficult. It's really hard. And I'd often say to my mum, you know, tell me what to do. I want to know what to do. I was only 18 at the time. I didn't know what to do. And it all comes down to it felt really lonely. You know, you do dig yourself out of the hole a little bit.
So you were a single mom, but you were also a teenage mom.
Yeah. And I was felt very judged and very lonely.
Wow. Yeah, I would imagine that. Yeah.
But I suppose it's a bit finding your tribe, really, because you can't take away the tough times, and a lot you can't change. But if you can find people that are in a similar situation as yourself, it was a really difficult, dark time for me, being a single parent, living on my own. There was many issues around the breakup. It was really, and I only felt released from that when my son turned 18. So I had 18 years of really difficult times, but I have he is absolutely amazing. He's a joy. We had no money, but what we created was memories, because it's not all about money. And we often just challenge ourselves sometimes. What can we do for nothing? What fun can we have? Because at the end of the day, all he wanted was being together, and you are good enough. And as long as you're just trying, you're good enough. I felt for a long time I wasn't good enough. I didn't deserve to have him. I was good enough. I was good enough for him. I'm not perfect. And we have conversations about, I probably haven't told you guys, like, I had a house fire 10 years ago. It was really traumatic for him, and he's come through that amazing. But it's these really difficult times which make us humble human beings, you know, at really difficult times. And he's amazing, and he dealt with it really well. We have conversations around it now, and, you know, I'm really close to him, really close to him.
Your story is incredible. You're an incredible person. And what I love is, to me, this is the start of an incredible journey. I've seen you in the last year. You know, I remember the very first live you did. I have just seen you, this light shine through you, and you've just transformed into this incredible, I mean, you already were, but it's like you discovered who you were. You know what I mean? It's like you wake up one day and you're like, oh wait, actually I've always been there, but now I'm going to share that with the world. And I think we have to heal ourselves before we can help heal others. And, you know, and I think it's clear that there's a lot that you've had to deal with and go through. But by dealing with those things and going through them and not giving up and being resilient and building up that resilience, you now have the healing powers to pass on to others, and you can help them heal, and you can help them shine a light, and in a way that only you can, right?
Yeah, having money as well. I thought having money, I've never wanted money. I've never needed money. I always felt that I had what I needed. But to me now, I now see the options that the jobs and the money could offer me. I was like, well, what if, because everyone talks about the 6-figure salary. I have no idea what a 6-figure salary looks like, but I would like one, because just imagine what you could do with it. I've said it out loud now. Just imagine.
It's out there. It's out there. I love it. Mandy, I love it.
I think we all have a bit of an issue. Well, I definitely have an issue with money, and I didn't even realize it, because, you know, I've come from a family where we've got to get everything for nothing. We go to car boots. We've got to save every penny. And it's just like, yeah, but if it could totally transform my life, we could get the support we need, we could have things in place, you could live the dream. And I've never wanted money. I like a simple life. I don't go on fancy holidays. I like a simple life, but the money, it's not the money, it's what the opportunity for what money could do for you. And I think that's a bit of the switch in me.
Well, and it's understanding that, and I think this is something, you know, I started my money mindset journey, I would say pretty much January 2020, because I was just like, I'm done, you know, I'm done surviving. I want to start thriving. And it was when I started educating myself. You know, I started reading books like The Illusion of Money, The Inside Out Revolution, and, you know, there's Think and Grow Rich, all these, which, you know, it's so funny. Once you read these books, dollars flow to me easily. Once you read these books, you realize it's really not about the money. It's about believing you have a rich life already. It's about believing that, you know, and actually I'm doing some additional transformational coaching right now with a woman named Mary Morrissey, and she has the 8 secrets to abundance. And one of the things she talks about, in fact, is that gratitude is the same vibration as abundance. So if you live in gratitude, you have abundance. And in Dollar Sold to Me Easily, he talks about shutting your eyes and seeing and feeling a field full of flowers. And he's like, that's what abundance feels like. You know, we think
also, I think, as someone with a parent, as a parent with a disability, you very often have come from a negative place. It's been a difficult, traumatic journey. But there's the realization that you're just on a different journey. And my daughter has given me so many gifts. She's given me strength I never knew I had. A lot of the time I've had to stick up for her, and I would never do it for myself. But I've always done it with kindness and thoughtfulness. And, you know, I had a situation where my daughter nearly died, and I had to fight for her treatment, but in a really kind and authentic way. And I had the nurses coming around high-fiving me because they was like, wow. And like, I'd done everything I could. If they weren't going to do the operation, there was no more I could have done, but I'd made my voice heard. And I think sometimes that's where we come across a bit wrong as carers, because we're so frustrated, we're so upset, we're so emotional. You know, you've got to hold yourself back just a little bit. And I think, again, on my journey, that is what I've learned. And my daughter has given me so many gifts.
Wow. I mean, that is the definition of gratitude, right? That is the definition of gratitude. Looking at a situation that most people wouldn't be able to wake up in the morning and deal with. You deal with it every day, and you deal with it with a grateful heart. But that, and I think that's the point is, you know, she talks about in the lesson that I did, she talked about the 3 different levels of gratitude, right? And I think this is such an important lesson for all of us. So, you know, there's the first level of gratitude, which is the lowest vibration, which is I will be grateful when, right?
Yeah.
So I know we've all done this. I'll be grateful when I've got that 100,000 pound salary, right? Or that 6-figure salary. It could be, you know, 700,000, whatever you want. But the point is like, I will be grateful when that comes. Then the second level is I will be grateful if, right? Like, so, or, you know, if I have this, if I have that. Both of those are kind of a conditional, if you will. And then she says, there's the grateful no matter what. And I love grateful no matter what, because that, and you have to think about what does that mean? But it basically means like, really, and what she says is before she even puts her feet on the floor, before she even opens her eyes, she goes through a process of, you know, I am just grateful to have this day. I am just great, you know, and it's just that gratitude that's not conditional on what might happen, or, you know,
and seeing what's there, isn't it? Seeing what's around you, being grateful. Like, I'm overweight. I wish I wasn't. I can't change that just yet. Not just yet. But I still want to be me, and I still want to go out the door, and I don't want to hide. And so it's just really trying to be grateful for just being you. I'm not perfect. Totally get that.
Yeah. And I think that's that kind of idea that who do you want to become? Right. Yeah. And it's, you know, a lot of people think especially with weight, a lot of people think, and this is so true. A lot of people think, I will be happy when, and this is that idea, I'll be grateful when, I'll be happy when I've lost weight, you know, like if I've lost 20 kilos or 10 kilos, whatever, I'll be happy when. And the point is actually you need to be happy now in who you are. And then you need to think about, well, what does a person who is healthier than me, who are they every day? What do I need to become? What do I need to do in order to have the weight loss, right? And that's something I learned from Jim Fortin, which is this, and it's in a bunch of books, and a lot of transformational coaches teach it, but it's the be, do, have model versus the have, do, be. So the have, do, be is, I want to lose weight, and I can only do that if I have the money to go to the gym. Well, I don't have the money to go to the gym, so I'm not going to go to the gym. And then they don't go to the gym. But it's the complete opposite of what needs to happen. So what you're really looking at is, okay, who do I need to become on a daily basis, right? And that's where you have to say, okay, I'm going to make a smoothie rather than have a ham sandwich. Yeah, right. I'm going to make a smoothie, or I'm going to, or even I'm going to make my soup from scratch. And what I always say to people, especially with weight, is do not focus on the numbers. Do not focus on
the lifestyle, isn't it? Going for that 5 minutes in the morning. It's making that healthy choice. It's getting the healthy shopping. And I'm trying to think of the way forward, because I end up trying to lose weight and then I end up in hospital with my daughter. And you can't leave the room and you can't do things. But what I was trying to do before COVID, because you had COVID and then you couldn't get the healthy food. We just had to, and looking after my daughter, you couldn't go out. So we only had to have what we had. So then your spiral starts again. But what I started to think of, what healthy things can I take in with me? Because I can't leave my daughter. And I can't starve, or I've got to go to the canteen. But that's in crisis mode. So, that's not normal mode, that's crisis mode. But it's then the negative thoughts that come after that. So it's not just focusing on the when I'm in there. It's like, well, what about afterwards? There's all the other time. Why is that throwing me? But yeah, something else I wanted to mention was, how do you want to be remembered when you die? Well, I want to be remembered for helping people and supporting parent carers, as many as I possibly can touch and support and help, because it wasn't fitting with me. Like, it was great being a hairdresser and I almost felt like a counsellor, but I felt I could help many more people on a different journey. So I didn't feel quite like I was where I needed to be. I feel now like I'm right where I need to be and I'm on the path I need to go on.
I love that. And I think, that this goes back to that concept of, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. That's really what it's about. And it's about believing, one of my favorite verses in the Bible, my daughter gave it to me as a gift. It sits next to the computer at all times, is faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. And I love that verse because that's what it is. It's believing that the outcome that you want is going to come. It's unwavering faith, and you have to practice unwavering faith. Unwavering faith does not come naturally to anybody. So it's that concept that you need to practice unwavering faith. You need to practice that the repetitive nature of believing that what you want to come true will come true. And you're exploring course creation and some other things, which I just so love about you. But what I really love is your heart. And I really love, I love that you now know how important your message is. You now know how important you are. And you now know what an impact you can have on people who really need your help. And that to me is the huge, the biggest blessing. And, and I do hope you get that 6-figure salary. And I do. And it's not even hoping, I know you'll get there. And it's about believing what's possible and then every day stepping towards it. A great book that I love is Atomic Habits. Everyone knows I did not everyone, but I did a series on habits and I wrote in that book. But, the fact is, we are our habits. And I think what you have an understanding of that most people don't have an understanding of is how to formulate habits in a changing world, like in a constantly changing world where one day you're in the hospital and one day you're not. Like how do you create habits that move you towards what you want to do with your life when you're in a disrupted environment? And I think that's a huge piece of the work that you're doing with people that you work with. And I think that's such a blessing.
Can I just say as well, the community of the Tech Pixies is second to none. The amazing people I've met, because you do have that imposter syndrome, because I have always put myself as not clever as a dyslexic, which is totally, I've had Teresa given me an amazing one-to-one, and I learned so much from her. But I've met like Charlotta, Michelle, Michelle, Gloria. I mean, that's just some of the amazing ladies in the group, and I definitely found my tribe.
Well, a few of them are here today and are praising or, pouring in their praise. Lee says, bloomin' heck, Mandy, you're amazing. And I just think it's so true. Debbie says, you're such an inspiration to me, Mandy, your openness and natural ability to communicate. Thank you for being you. Thank you to Joy for enabling us to open up and express ourselves. I'm really struggling with confidence and imposter syndrome and hope I can step into the confidence that Mandy has. Yeah, and Debbie's just not.
Where was I when I started? Oh yeah, my days.
Debbie's not as far in her journey as you are. And that what I think is amazing is Mandy has just come up on the 12 months. Like you literally have 7 days ago, you hit 12 months in the program. And I think what we know is this stuff takes time. You have to think differently. And that's what I just said. Like, you have to consciously make an effort every day to think differently. That's hard, guys. It's easy to be negative all the time. It's easy to let your subconscious rule the roost. It's difficult to be a conscious thinker. It's difficult to consciously direct the outcome that you want over and over again, even if you can't see it yet, right?
But you miss the world when you're in that negative space, because what my daughter taught me while I was feeling sorry for her and myself, I was missing her growing up. And all I am is a mum to my daughter, and I just want to enjoy it, and as much as I can, put the rest to one side.
Yeah. And you just know it's a journey, and I think whenever someone has a goal in life, and of course, when you then have all these circumstances that hit you right and left, those goals seem really, really far away. And it's about recognizing that life is a journey. It's a journey of discovery. It's a journey of figuring out who you are and what your contribution is going to be to this world. And trust me, your purpose in life is way beyond you and your family, right? Your purpose in life is, although it's important for you and your family, the impact you are going to have on, and already have had on, parent carers is huge, and it's a ripple effect that will help other people to have a better life.
And it is tough. It's tough fighting through them barriers, because I'm having it at the moment a bit, because when I start to revisit some of the tough times, it's a yo-yo. So when I'm trying to write some of the content now that I want to do on the series for parent carers, there's a piece of me in it, and I was all right writing it, but then when I've sent it out for people to actually look at it, it's just like you resonate with how you felt at the time. So, but one of my colleagues said, yeah, but that's why it's good, because it's so hard and because it means something. That's why it's good. So what I'd like to do is just do a block and put it to one side, because I don't find the video so difficult, but when I put it on paper, it hits me. It's difficult. You've got to work through that difficult. I'm looking forward to what's over the other side. What if, because I can't turn back and I can't stay where I am. I want to keep going, and I want to get past these sort of, like, when it gets difficult and uncomfortable. That's when you know you're doing good, because you're learning.
Well, exactly. And whenever you feel resistance, I like to call it Monsters, Inc. It's a little bit scary, but it also feels a bit right. And that means you're moving in the right direction. And actually, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is such an important thing in your ability to move forwards. But listen, Mandy, you're incredible. Obviously, I mean, you've got to go back and read some of these comments. They're really beautiful comments. But I just, first of all, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming on to the podcast. I want to thank you for being your authentic self. I want to thank you for sharing your journey, because your journey is not easy, and you've shared the good, the bad, and the ugly. It has been tough. But what is so powerful is you have this unwavering belief, and it's strengthened by the support that you've got around you with the women that you've connected with in the program. So many of whom are watching right now, who know what it's like to go through what you're going through. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone, right? And that's half the battle, is when someone who's going through something like this becomes visible on social media, and you identify and people find you, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
It feels a bit like a secret club that sometimes people don't talk about because it's so hard.
Yeah. And that's your job. That's who you are. Let's break down those barriers. Let's talk about it. Let's connect with each other. Let's help each other. And that's what's so, so important. All right. Well, I can't thank you enough. You have given a gift to everyone today, with just your presence being here. And I know this is going to get listened to by a lot of people, and they are going to so appreciate that you took your time today to do this. And
if I can help one parent carer, if I can help one person get up in the morning, I've done my job.
I think you've done more than that today. Thank you so much. And I am going to continue looking forward to your updates in the group. And certainly when you get that 6-figure salary, I will be so excited to cheer on with you. And that's something we talk about a lot, is just celebrating the small wins. So as you go on this journey, and as you are self-discovering, and as you are making progress and pushing through that resistance and that Monsters Inc. scary, that you're
and the little wins, isn't it? The little, break them down really little. Like for some parent carers, is getting up in the morning.
That's a win.
It is a win.
And you celebrate that. You celebrate getting up in the morning. You celebrate being able to do your hair. You celebrate a day without the hospital, right? It's the celebrate. And then even when you're in the hospital, what can you celebrate? What can you find that was good in that
I
day?
love to go and talk to all the ladies and gentlemen there and help them, get them a cup of tea or chat to them. Yeah, I love it. Don't love being in hospital, but I like connecting with people.
Exactly. But and I think that's the point, is where can you create little wins along the way? I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned, because for such a long time I was focused on the goal, the goal, the goal, the goal. And what do I, the thing I wanted to have, not the who do I need to be, what do I need to do in order to have what I want to have. And, that goes back to habits. It goes back to celebrating the small wins. It goes back to facing the facts of your situation, but believing that your mind can create the thoughts that change the outcome and change the experience that you have. And I think you've given us so much food for thought today.
It's been lovely to be on the journey with you and be one of your Tech Pixies.
Well, it's, a lot of the stuff I tell you guys, I learn from other people, and I try and credit where credit's due. But, I think open-mindedness, being open to changing your thoughts. There was a book, and we'll leave on this. There was a book by Ray Dalio called Principles. And it's like big, it's like thicker than the Bible. And I didn't finish it, but I got through most of it. Just like I haven't ever finished the Bible cover to cover. You go through as much as you can. But one of the things, I think pretty much where I was just shocked when I read it was, he says one of the number one things that you can do for your life is be open-minded. Don't bring judgment to the table. Live a non-judgmental life. And if you are open-minded, you can't be judgmental. And because open-mindedness doesn't allow for judgment. My husband bought that for me for Christmas a couple of years ago. And it was like a new thought. And he talks about new thoughts, like the power of new thoughts. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking, that's going to be one of my values. Open-mindedness is going to be one of my values, because if we are open-minded, we are open to transformation, we're open to change, we're open to new ideas. And it's just the opposite of contraction, isn't it? And abundance is open, and and gratitude opens up the floodgates to abundance. And I just think we're in this world to experience life, and we can choose how we experience it, in a contracted way or in an open way.
You can be happy or you can be sad, but I think only you can choose what you want to be. No one can make you happy. You choose to be happy or you choose to be sad. That's kind of a choice. No one can make you happy or sad. It's in here, isn't it?
But people don't realize that. People don't realize they have choice over their thoughts until they start to consciously think. And that's what we want to, that's what we're here for. Let's encourage people on the Sparkle and Thrive podcast to stop surviving, start thriving, to consciously choose your thoughts. The situation is neutral. The situation is neutral. The situation, whatever situation you're facing in life, is neutral. It doesn't have a feeling either or. You put the feelings and emotion on it. You can choose to change that feeling and emotion just by shifting what you're focusing on. And that's so important. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to have to go. I don't want to. I want to stay here forever.
I could talk forever.
I definitely think you're going to be back on the podcast again someday soon. But, thank you so much. And I know that a lot of people will be inspired by this. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We filmed this on Friday, so enjoy your weekend. And we'll speak soon.